to make moves to fill out the roster with 2 new signings.
When the Indiana Fever GM confirms major free agent signings around Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston, fans envision seismic shifts, star power, and immediate championship contention. But the reality, as often is the case in elite sports, is far more nuanced and, frankly, more revealing. What's actually happening behind the headlines? These aren't the blockbuster deals you'd expect for a franchise anchoring itself around the biggest sensation in basketball. Instead, the Fever's initial moves are calculated gambles, strategic low-risk plays designed to unearth hidden potential. This isn't about confirming established superstars. It's about bringing in prospects on training camp contracts who just might, earn a spot. This approach unveils a deeper, more challenging strategy. It exposes the immense pressure on the Fever to build intelligently, not just expansively. It reveals the true, demanding nature of assembling a winning roster in the WNBA, especially when you have a generational talent on your hands. The narrative isn't simply about major signings. It's about the intricate, high-stakes chess game to support Caitlin Clark. The Fever are operating in an environment of unprecedented scrutiny and expectation. Every decision, every roster move is magnified through the lens of Caitlin Clark's arrival. The term major signing carries a specific weight in professional sports. It implies significant financial investment, guaranteed roster spots, and proven talent. Yet, the initial flurry of activity from the Fever tells a different story. It points to a franchise prioritizing depth, competition, and perhaps players with unique intangible qualities. They're not chasing headlines with lavish contracts. They're meticulously sifting through talent, looking for diamonds in the rough. This strategy is less about a single decisive stroke and more about a series of calculated, smaller moves designed to incrementally strengthen the foundation. It's a patient game in a league demanding immediate results. This approach, while less glamorous, suggests a long-term vision. It indicates a team committed to finding players who fit a specific system, who embrace a competitive culture, and who can complement the unprecedented offensive firepower of Clark and the defensive anchor of Boston. The path to contention isn't always paved with immediate superstars. Sometimes it's forged through the grinding process of discovery.
It says we have signed Megan McConnell, the brother of TJ McConnell, who plays for the Indiana Pacers, and Kiana Traylor to training camp contracts. All right, so these ladies will be invited to training camp and they will be duking it out. Actually,
this is where the true nature of these signings comes into sharp focus. Megan McConnell and Kiana Traylor arriving on training camp contracts. This isn't a guaranteed roster spot. It's an invitation to compete, an opportunity to prove they belong. For McConnell, the narrative is immediately compelling. Her connection to TJ McConnell of the Indiana Pacers isn't just a fun fact, it's a critical detail. It speaks to a certain basketball pedigree, an understanding of the professional game, and a built-in familiarity with the Indiana sports landscape. This isn't just about bringing in a player, it's about potentially integrating someone with a deep-seated understanding of elite-level competition and what it takes to perform under pressure. These training camp contracts are a shrewd move. They allow the Fever to evaluate talent firsthand without committing long-term resources. It's a low-risk, high-reward strategy that could uncover a crucial piece for their evolving roster, especially one with a unique connection to the city's basketball identity. The story of Megan McConnell runs deeper than just a family name. Her collegiate career at Duquesne University paints a picture of a player defined by relentless effort and defensive prowess. In a league increasingly dominated by offensive fireworks, a player who can consistently lock down opponents is an invaluable asset. Her Atlantic 10 Defensive Player of the Year award isn't just a trophy. It's a testament to her tenacity, her instinct, and her ability to disrupt an opponent's rhythm. This defensive identity is precisely what the Fever, with an offensive genius like Caitlin Clark, desperately need. Clark will draw immense attention, often leaving other players in vulnerable defensive positions. McConnell's potential presence offers a crucial counterbalance. Her brief WNBA debut, cut short by injury, highlights both her initial breakthrough and the resilience required to fight her way back. Playing professionally in Australia further sharpened her game, demonstrating her adaptability and continued development. She's not just TJ's sister, she's a battle-tested guard with a clear and distinct skill set that aligns perfectly with a critical need for the Fever. This is about more than just filling a roster spot. It's about injecting a specific type of grit and defensive intelligence into a team aiming for a complete transformation.
And from the field, McConnell played collegiately at Duquesne University, where she was the 2025 Atlantic 10 Defensive Player of the Year. Her and her brother, they can guard, okay?
This statement cuts directly to the core of McConnell's value. Her and her brother, they can guard, okay? It's a simple assessment, but profoundly strategic. In the WNBA, defense is often the unsung hero, the bedrock upon which championship teams are built. The ability to defend, to disrupt, to apply consistent pressure is a skill set that transcends offensive slumps or off nights. For the Indiana Fever, a team with tremendous offensive potential in Clark and Boston, defensive solidity is paramount. They cannot afford to be a one-sided team. McConnell's collegiate accolades, especially her Defensive Player of the Year award, are not just resume builders. They are indicators of a fundamental competence that aligns perfectly with a critical team need. This isn't about flashy scoring. It's about winning possessions, forcing turnovers, and setting the tone. This is about adding a foundational piece that enables the Stars to shine brighter by taking defensive pressure off them. It's a smart, pragmatic move for a team seeking balance. The WNBA landscape is unforgiving. Teams loaded with offensive talent often falter without a robust defensive scheme. The Fever, aiming to climb from the bottom of the standings, must prioritize a balanced approach. Caitlin Clark's offensive wizardry will undoubtedly elevate the team, but even the greatest scorers need defensive support. This is where a player like McConnell, with her proven defensive capabilities, becomes incredibly valuable. She offers a different dimension, a different kind of strength. Her ability to lead her college program in steals, assists, and even triple-doubles speaks to a comprehensive understanding of the game beyond just individual defense. It shows an all-around impact player, capable of influencing both ends of the court. The injury history is a concern, certainly, but the upside, especially on a training camp contract, is undeniable. If McConnell can regain her form and bring that defensive intensity, she could be more than just a training camp hopeful. She could be a pivotal role player, a glue guy, or rather a glue gal that helps solidify the Fever's rotation. Her presence could allow Clark to conserve energy, focusing her unparalleled offensive talents on scoring and playmaking, knowing there's a reliable defender next to her.
As a third string point guard, she can defend and she can pass, so
this assessment is the unvarnished truth of a training camp contract. I think McConnell maybe has a chance to make the back end of this roster as a third string point guard. This isn't hyperbole, it's a realistic evaluation. Her pathway isn't to be a starter. It's to earn a spot as a reliable, high-effort contributor. She can defend and she can pass. These are the specific, tangible skills that make her an attractive prospect for the Fever. In a league where every possession matters, a guard who prioritizes defense and facilitates offense without turning the ball over is a coach's dream for the deeper rotation. Her potential lies in her functional fit. She's not expected to score 20 points, but to execute defensive assignments, move the ball efficiently, and provide relief minutes. It's a role player's mentality, and if she can demonstrate that consistently in preseason, her chance becomes a very real possibility. This isn't about flash. It's about fundamental basketball, executed at a high level. The Fever's roster construction remains a complex puzzle, even with the arrival of Caitlin Clark and the established presence of Aliyah Boston. The speaker highlights a crucial lingering need. The Indiana Fever need to get this deal done with another forward. This reveals the existing gaps and the ongoing strategic efforts beyond these training camp signings. The long-term contract situation is even more telling. Aside from Clark and Boston, only Lexi Hall and Monique Billings are noted as long-term fixtures. Michaela Timpson, while on a long-term deal, is explicitly mentioned as being on a developmental side or potentially releasable. This means the core around Clark and Boston is still incredibly thin and lacking long-term stability. Crucially, established veterans like Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham are on one-year deals. This short-term contractual landscape emphasizes the urgency for the Fever to nail this draft and find additional pieces that can grow with Clark and Boston. These training camp signings, while strategic, are just one small facet of a much larger, high-stakes rebuild. The pressure is immense to not just acquire talent, but to acquire the right talent. Players who understand their roles, embrace the team culture, and commit to the long-term vision of building a championship contender.
The only people under contract long-term, Caitlin Clark Aliyah Boston, Lexi Hall, Monique Billings. Okay, Michaela Timpson has a long-term contract, but she can be put on the developmental side. She can be released at any moment if she has not improved enough. So, you know, you got to find some young pieces in this draft that you want to stabilize around Caitlin Clark long term. Kelsey Mitchell's on a 1-year deal. Sophie Cunningham 1-year deal. You know, the point guard they brought in 1-year deal.
This is the stark reality for the Indiana Fever. The only people under contract long term: Caitlin Clark, Aliyah Boston, Lexi Hall, Monique Billings. That's it. A franchise building around arguably the greatest prospect ever, and a reigning Rookie of the Year has a surprisingly fragile long-term foundation. This exposes a critical vulnerability. Key players like Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham, seasoned veterans vital for immediate competitiveness, are locked into 1-year deals. This isn't stability, it's a series of calculated short-term commitments. It means every year, a significant portion of the roster's future is uncertain. This isn't just about winning games, it's about building a sustainable culture. The contrast with other teams making multi-year commitments elsewhere in the league becomes even more glaring. The Fever are operating with a degree of contractual volatility that demands exceptional performance from their new draftees and a perfect alignment from their short-term veteran acquisitions. It's a high-wire act where long-term vision must constantly navigate short-term contractual realities, while the Fever meticulously evaluate training camp talent and navigate a roster with significant short-term contracts. Other powerhouses in the WNBA are making definitive, multi-year commitments that solidify their championship aspirations. The Las Vegas Aces signing Dana Evans to a 2-year deal, or Steph Talbot, showcases a team aggressively securing its future. The New York Liberty, already a super team, are adding depth with players like Rebecca Allen on what feels like an endless budget. Bro, where's all the money coming from, New York? Where's all this money coming from? This sentiment perfectly captures the competitive chasm. The Liberty are not just talented, they are loaded, deep, assembling what's described as the Avengers. This isn't just about contrasting roster philosophies, it's about the competitive landscape Caitlin Clark is entering. The top teams are not standing still, they are consolidating power, making it an even steeper climb for the Fever. These major free agent signings for other teams aren't just news, they are strategic maneuvers that raise the bar, intensify the competition, and underscore the critical importance of every single decision the Fever makes. Their measured approach, while perhaps prudent, must ultimately yield results against increasingly dominant and stable rivals.
Is Natasha Cloud got a job yet? That's what I'm interested in. Did Natasha Cloud get hired yet? She was talking real crazy. You was talking real crazy, and it looked like you might be signing for a veteran minimum. You was talking super crazy. And I don't know if you got signed yet.
This is a harsh reminder of the unforgiving nature of the WNBA. Is Natasha Cloud got a job yet? She was talking real crazy. You was talking super crazy. And I don't know if you got signed yet. This isn't just idle gossip. It's a stark illustration of the WNBA's brutal market dynamics. Even established players, veterans with strong opinions, can find themselves in precarious positions. This contrasts sharply with the Fever's quiet, strategic moves. While some players make noise, others are meticulously trying to find their place, often for veteran minimums. The WNBA is a league with limited roster spots and intense competition. It's a constant battle for relevance and stability. This segment implicitly exposes the secret that even high-profile players are not immune to the pressures of free agency and the need to align with team needs and budget constraints. It highlights the strategic imperative for every player, whether an established star or a training camp hopeful, to prove their indispensable value in a league where opportunity is scarce and earned, not given. This reality makes the Fever's low-risk, high-upside approach with players like McConnell even more understandable. The path forward for the Indiana Fever remains fraught with challenge and immense opportunity. While the major free agent signings may be training camp contracts now, they represent the meticulous groundwork being laid beneath the surface. The emphasis on players like Megan McConnell, with a defensive mindset and a deep understanding of the professional game, signals a clear strategic direction. Build a balanced team that can support and complement the unprecedented offensive firepower of Caitlin Clark and the foundational strength of Aliyah Boston. The upcoming WNBA draft isn't just another event, it's the next critical juncture for this franchise. It's where they must solidify their long-term core, finding young pieces that can develop alongside their stars. The pressure is on the GM to nail this draft and acquire the proper help, not just talent, but the right talent. The Fever are not just building a basketball team, they are building a legacy around a generational player. Every decision, from training camp contracts to draft picks, is a calculated step in a high-stakes journey. The ultimate secret isn't in one blockbuster signing, but in the relentless, intelligent assembly of a roster capable of transforming potential into championship contention. The story of the Indiana Fever is just beginning, and its chapters will be written by these strategic, often understated, foundational moves.